They visit the Western Athletic Conference representative Fresno State Bulldogs. Hi everybody, I'm Todd McKim along with Ken, Woody, and welcome to another year of college football Oregon style on Prime Sports. Here we are at Fresno State. Nice, warm, beautiful evening, and we're ready to go.
It's hotter than a pistol. It's about 90 degrees, Todd. Condition will be a factor tonight.
Well, the Ducks are coming off an outstanding season led by quarterback Tony Graziani, 8th in the country in passing and total of offense. He really does it all for Oregon, not only with his arm but also his legs.
Coach Bellotti told us he's a little disappointed in his fundamentals at the end of last year. He feels that he's had a great camp and he is sharper than he's been in a long time, Todd.
He's from the Central California area, from Modesto. He would like nothing better than to have a great game to start the season.
And he is very focused, as all are the seniors on the Oregon offense.
Well, you look at Graziani on offense. Defensively, Kenny Wheaton's got to be the guy. He's been a first-team preseason All-American. He was a second-team All-Pac-10 selection a year ago. He says he wants to be on that first team.
Well, the biggest challenge the Oregon defensive staff is to put Wheaton in a position consistently where he can go head-to-head against the best players the opponents have. He's going to go against a real good wide receiver tonight. They expect a lot in his coverage and a lot of his leadership ability, too.
Kenny Wheaton led the Pac-10 in interceptions a year ago. He is an outstanding player. But he's going to be facing an offense that traditionally is one of the best in all of college football. Jim Sweeney really has had it going down here. The last 2 years, though, sub-Sweeney performances, 5 and 7 both years. But they think they can turn around with a big, strong-armed quarterback, Jim Arellanes.
Well, this Fresno offense scored 32 points per game last year and only got 5 wins. Arellanes, 7th in the nation in passing efficiency. He can light it up.
He's a traditional drop-back quarterback, strong arm, and he's got outstanding skill position players. They always seem to down here at Fresno State. And leading the way this year is another outstanding wide receiver, Brian Roberson. Not the biggest guy in the world, but great hands. He's tough, and he can go get the ball.
He sure can, and I'll tell you what, they find a way to get him the football on punt returns. He averaged over 18 yards a punt return last year. Very dangerous player. Ducks have got to keep him contained.
Well, when we come back, we will have the starting lineups and the opening kickoff. The 1996 opener, Oregon against Fresno State.
All that.
Well, we're ready to go. You see Gary Campbell here, the running backs coach. Jimmy Radcliffe, strength and conditioning coach. The Ducks will deploy twin safeties, Patrick Johnson and a newcomer to the program, a Saladin McCullough. The season opener for the 1996 campaign. Oregon near sideline for Saladin McCullough. This will go through the end zone. Here come the Ducks offensively as they are led on the field by senior quarterback Tony Graziani. Graziani last year hit 54% of his passes, over 2,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Missed one game with an injury. Suffered during the season opener last year at Utah. Injured in the first half and gutted it out in the second half, but was not able to come back the following week against Illinois when Ryan Perry-Smith was the starter. Ducks start with one tight end. Man in motion is Patrick Johnson, the speedster. First play of the ball, giving it to Kevin Parker. Cut back going to the outside. And Parker has a nice gain over the 25-yard line at the 26. Gain of 6 yards. Kevin Parker, the ball carrier, the running back, sophomore out of Skyline High School in Oakland. Up front, Paul Wiggins, Willie Wright, Mark Gregg, Tassi Malapai, and the only junior in that quintet, David Weber from Colorado. Jabri Hodge has had an outstanding fall camp. Josh Wilcox led the team in touchdown receptions a year ago. Parker, Eric Wynn gets the call at fullback, and Patrick Johnson. Tony Graziani, the quarterback. Single back in the slot is Wilcox. He gets a trap block and didn't get the right guy as Parker is nailed behind the line of scrimmage. Ryan Holmes in there to make a big hit. Holmes, a 6'3", 235-pounder out of Orange, California. Up front, Scanlon Robinson, who's probably the best pass rusher, Sargent, and Colbert. Linebacking core, they've moved some guys around. Last year, Bain was in the secondary, and Gass only weighs about 200 pounds as well. So they go to speed and quickness. And in the secondary, Stottmeyer a year ago had 198 tackles, second best in the NCAA. Wilcox, the man in motion. Two tight end look this time. Graziani with time underneath the Wilcox, but he will be nailed short of the first down by an inspired and swarming Bulldog defense. So the Ducks will be 3 and out to start the football game.
Well, we know Wilcox is a tough guy. 9 guys hit him on that play, Todd.
Short of the first down, Holmes once again leading the way for the Bulldogs. So in the punt for Oregon will be Josh Bidwell in the fall camp, considered by the coaches the most improved player. A year ago, Bidwell was 10th in gross punting, averaged a little over 34 yards a punt, but his net punting was pretty good and only 19 returned. This one off the side of his foot, looking for a roll. And he gets a little bit of a one. This is Robertson last year, second in the NCAA in punt returns, averaging over 18, but good coverage downfield by Matt Lafano, a reserve linebacker, and the Bulldogs take over first and 10 at their own 34-yard line. Jim Arellanes, you see the big guy in the middle there, number 16. Great stats, injured midway through the season with a knee injury suffered against UCLA. 7th best in passing efficiency, and he is the prototypical NFL-type drop-back passer.
Talking to a scout up here in the press box, they've got him in the top 4 quarterbacks in the country right now.
Says a lot for a guy that only started a couple of games last year. First play, they give it to their running back. This is Kimbrough, the fullback, and he's got a seam over the left side, gain of 6 to the 40-yard line. Offensively for the Bulldogs up front, Osmondson, they consider their best offensive lineman, the center. He has started 26 consecutive games for Fresno State. In the right field and the wideouts, Roberson, an outstanding wide receiver, and Tucker's got speed to burn. They give it back to Kimbrough, the fullback, and he gets 2 yards over the left side. On top is Derek Barnes, and down below, Peter Sermon, number 44, a redshirt freshman. Let's take a look at the Ducks up front. The 3-4 alignment, Bird, Jackson, Schmidt, all seasoned veterans. Linebacking core, Jordan and Barnes on the outside, led the team with 7 sacks apiece a year ago. And a very young secondary, excluding All-American Kenny Wheaton. Fletcher and McLemore are redshirt freshmen. Gibson basically has been a reserve most of his career, but is a senior. And come with a reverse. Jordan, what a play by Reggie Jordan. A long arm of the law with a 9-yard loss on the reverse.
He's not there, Todd. There's a lot of room to run on the right side here. Reggie Jordan stayed at home. Great play.
That's why quarterbacks don't block very often.
And that's an element of the defense, the new defense, where they've got those guys wider getting upfield. They're going to be tough to run that kind of play against.
It is a beauty by Jeff Roberts. Back to field it is Patrick Johnson trying to get to the outside with that speed of his. That's inside. Good return for Patrick. And he is out to the 25. So for both teams, 3 and out. The defenses controlling early play. Diagramming a little of the defense is Rich Subler, the new defensive coordinator. 13 years in the Canadian Football League, where he got to work with 12 guys on the side. The offensive coordinator, by the way, for Fresno State, a young man by the name of Jeff Tedford, who for 1 game played in the secondary for Subler with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It was an emergency situation. Tedford was a quarterback, but had to be thrust into action in the secondary. He told me this week he brought 2 sets of pads, the quarterback pads and the DB pads, and even had an interception in the game.
You know, if fans are wondering why Subler's hair is blowing, they got 2 huge fans down there on the sidelines trying to keep things cool.
First and 10 at the 12-yard line. Graziani on the roll. He's going to look deep to Patrick Johnson. He's behind the defense. Patrick Johnson has it. He's got 10, 2 speed. See ya.
No flags.
Here's a guy that 2 years ago beat Carl Lewis in a 100-meter dash at the Drake Relays. Hamstring injury last spring. The defending 400-meter champ in the Pac-10 Conference last year goes deep, 88 yards.
And hit him perfectly in stride. Graziani did a nice job of pulling up inside the block at Malapi. Had he come out there a little bit quicker, he was going to get sacked. Great job by Graziani, and I'll tell you what, there is a deep threat the Ducks had figured they were going to get, but it looks like it's going to be for real.
Joshua Smith in to attempt the point after. Ryan Perry Smith for a hold, and a Point after is good. Next on their next possession, boom, one play, 88 yards.
Watch Graziani pull up very quickly there. Malapai knocks his man out of there, but that was a good job between Malapai and Graziani setting up the opportunity to throw the ball deep to Pat Johnson. And folks, you don't want to be behind him when he catches this. He's going to run right by the corner and the safety. And I'm sure they didn't get that look all week from their scout team, Todd.
So Patrick Johnson is back. So Patrick, who had 30 receptions as a freshman, but only 11 last year for 157 yards. He's got almost half that yardage or more than that already in one reception.
Well, Todd, we got a chance to check out the part of Oregon's game last year that was always a source of concern, the kickoff.
Josh Bidwell, the punter, will kick off for the Ducks. And he has the capability of putting the ball in the end zone. The only question is, how high is it going to get on its way to the end zone?
Well, the Ducks did a great job of covering the last two-thirds of the season last year, but I'll tell you, at times early on, the kickoff was the most exciting play of the game.
Definitely hurt them against Stanford, but late in the season it actually became a positive for them. They really probably coached the kickoff team as much as possible. Well, they're going to give Oregon a 5-yard penalty for delay of the game on the kickoff.
Right, once they mark the ball, you have like 15 seconds to get it off, and I think what the referee is telling Bidwell that I marked it ready for play and you didn't do it. Oregon coach Bellotti down there, everyone's saying, hey, normally that guy stands next to the kicker with his hand on, in front of him and says, now you can go. So a rule change cost the Ducks 5 yards, not being ready for it.
Roberson. He busted up in there. That's Menete with the return, number 89. Kenny Wheaton looking at some film, thinks he's the best receiver that he's faced in 3 years. That's saying a lot. Here's Pittman. A big hole right up the middle there, close to the 40-yard line. Gain of 7 on the play, and at the bottom of the stack for the Ducks is Ryan Clausen getting a start tonight, the sophomore from San Clemente, California.
Todd, we know the Oregon run defense is a little bit different this year. The line are playing off the ball, but as you can see, Fresno's doing a nice job of getting an extra blocker inside between the center and guard to help block the linebacker. Going to cause for some adjustments on behalf of the Ducks. Right now, they're giving up too much yardage in between the tackles.
Second down and 3. Give it back to the scat back, so to speak, Kimbrough. He's kind of an undersized fullback, 200-pounder out of San Diego. Jamie Kimbrough. Their other fullback packs about 235. There's a good look at the fans down on the sideline. I guess they're all crowded up there now, offensively and defensively. They bounce to the outside. And Brandon McLemore might have prevented a touchdown. It's Kimbrough. Boy, somebody on that outside contained didn't do their job.
Well, Fresno came out of the huddle very quickly and had an overshifted offensive line to the right side. You see only 2 offensive linemen to the left there. They got everybody collapsed inside. McLemore does a great job keeping the angle, the inside-out angle on the running back, and made the tackle. You see the Bulldogs just collapsed everyone inside.
Michael Fletcher, the redshirt freshman,
he
unable to see where the ball was going.
Yeah, he was seeing things on that play.
But that's to be expected. Young man getting his first action. Great athlete. Play a little cornerback for you as well. Strong safety. Arellanes looking for the out pattern. Might be picked. It is. Kenny Wheaton. He had 5 interceptions a year ago. He cuts back on Arellanes, and he's got an interception for a touchdown. Wow. Is he the most instinctive player you've seen? He just ran right in front of Anthony Tucker and made a brilliant cutback for the score.
And the cutback was very instinctive, too. I'll tell you, when Arellanes threw this ball, the receiver was open. Great job by Wheaton. Watch this cut. Arellanes has the angle, and you can see he's no free safety. Wheaton made that look easy.
Trivia question: who scored Oregon's first touchdown in the Rose Bowl year offensively?
Was Kenny Wheaton a tailback?
Kenny Wheaton at tailback against Portland State.
Do I get a prize for that?
Indeed you do. Our crack staff will be scouring the souvenir stands as Josh Smith tacks on the point after it. 2 big plays. The difference in this football game, Oregon has made them both. Kenny Wheaton with the touchdown. Remember last year against Pacific, he picked one off and weaved through the entire Tiger defense, and they dropped the football as a result of that.
Well, what's interesting is this came right after a big play by the Bulldog offense, and this is what the Duck defensive coaches want out of Kenny Wheaton. He makes a big play right after they had a big play against them. That's a mark of an outstanding football player, and what's going to look like it be a pretty good defense.
69-yard interception return for Kenny Wheaton. Kenny Wheaton now with 10 career interceptions.
Looks like he might be cramping up a little bit, Todd.
I'll trade a cramp for a touchdown.
That's right. When the defensive line coach comes over to a D-back and pats him on the head, you know he's done real good. Joe Sheffield does not spare any compliments.
And promptly kicks it out of bounds.
Told me they have him in the top 4 for senior quarterbacks in the country.
Fresno has a great tradition.
Fresno in an unbalanced line again.
They're going to go back to the run. This is Pittman. B.J. Jackson misses. Kenny Wheaton bounces off. Pittman's a strong runner. And I think they found something they like off the tackles offensively. And you might see them keep it on the ground for a while to establish that run. Last year, they only averaged about 145 yards a game on the ground. In their glory years, the late 80s, early 90s, they were over 200 yards a game.
Notice who's making the tackle there, Kenny Wheaton.
Yep, he is everywhere. Last year played half the year with a bad finger that reduced his effectiveness. They go right up the gut again with Pittman. Good cut. He's got the first down over the 45-yard line. Interior of the Oregon defense making the stop. They're going to test those 2 inside linebackers. Remember, Rich Rule and Jeremy Asher started virtually every game the last 3 years inside. Guys like Ryan Clausen didn't get much of an opportunity. Now, Clausen and Peter Sermon, 2 young guys, getting tested under fire here in Fresno. Play-action pass. Arellanes rolling out the dump. Pittman. Peter Sermon one-on-one misses the tackle. Gain about 6 yards by Pittman. The go-to guy early for Fresno tonight. Pittman last year averaged 4.5 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns.
Real nice run, play-action fake by Arellanes there. And one thing that I notice about Fresno's offense right now is their pass offense is tied in very much with what they're trying to do running. I don't know if you noticed it, but one of the inside linebackers really bid on that fake. Out of position, but it ended up, secondary did a nice job covering downfield and forced the dump-off pass.
Right now, the young secondary is holding up nicely. The guys up front trying to find their way. We'll go back to the big guy, Kimbrough. He tries the right side. Reggie Jordan, along with Kenny Wheaton. Third down and about 3.
Bulldogs 1 for 3 so far on third down conversion.
Sweeney needs 4 wins to get 200 for his career. Arellanes on a half roll. Pretty good protection. Now scrambling. Now looks to run, and he's got the first down. Remember, he's a big guy at about 6'4", 210.
About 3 yards. First down for Fresno State.
You see Sermon keeping contained, forcing the quarterback inside. You'd like to get some help from somebody inside there.
The Ducks already rotating defensive linemen. It's an area where they're thin, and on a hot night like tonight, you're going to see a lot of different guys in there. Momentarily, you saw first and 10. Go back to that run. This time, that's what you call stepping up and taking on the ball carrier. That's Peter Sermon, number 44, on what should be the final play of the first quarter. Ready for the start of the second quarter. Oregon leading Fresno State 14-0. Patrick Johnson touchdown pass of 88 yards. Kenny Wheaton 69-yard interception return for a touchdown as well. Fresno State with possession of the ball. 2nd and 9 from the Oregon 41.
2nd and 9.
Four-man rush by the Ducks. Pretty good pressure. Arellanes looking deep. Has a man. Anthony Pecker down. He's got it. He beat Kenny Wheaton. And out of bounds. Where do they mark it? The 2-yard line. So Anthony Pecker, who's blessed with tremendous athletic ability, a sophomore from Los Alamitos, a former high school teammate of Oregon true freshman.
Take another look on this.
Hartley.
This is a two-deep look. And it looks like it was not a two-deep, and Kenny Wheaton just got beat. You know, he looks like he's been sucking a little bit over there after that long run. Smart idea to try him deep.
Unbalanced line again, full house backfield. They try the left side, nothing doing. Reggie Jordan over the top from that outside linebacker position, along with Derek Allen at the point of attack. Might have lost a half yard. Bring in Garth White, number 55, replacing Ryan Clausen. Reggie Jordan also up to 260 pounds. 7 sacks a year ago. Full house backfield again. Again, they're going to go to the running back Pittman, and he's got a touchdown. Nobody touched him. Rolls into the end zone.
Well, Gibson did his job, the right corner. He turned the play back inside, but nobody was free coming from the inside. All the linebackers are blocked. You're going to see Sermon disappear. He's blocked. Now Gibson, that's what he's supposed to do, is make him cut inside. There should be somebody. McLemore's over there too late. Ducks right now, their linebackers are getting blocked inside, Todd.
Armin Tarigian in to attempt the point after. And he's got it. One of the new rules in college football this year is you're not allowed to touch the center while snapping for 1 second after he does so, or else it's a penalty, so it might cut down on blocked PATs. And so the Bulldogs quickly get right back in it with 14:15 remaining second quarter. Fresno State scoring quickly, 65-yard drive early in the second quarter and cut the deficit to 7 points.
You watch inside, there is no help coming from the inside. Part of that is they had 2 lead backs blocking too, the T formation. It's a little bit like the wishbone. We see 55s out of there, 42, 44, no linebackers around, they're all getting blocked. And credit that to, you know, the Bulldogs have got a nice scheme right now, but the Ducks are going to have to adjust. Those young linebackers are not going to be able to stand up to that kind of stuff all night.
Pass to Tucker down to the Oregon 2-yard line to set up the 3-yard run by Pittman. Tarigian, very short kick. Let's see if anybody calls for a fair catch. They do. So it's a smart play on both sides for Fresno State. Smart because you really pin Oregon back at the 22, and then also a pretty smart play up field for a while now. After the long bomb to Patrick Johnson. Go to the left side to Jerry Brown. Squeezing his way through the left side for about 4 yards. Corey Hall, the free safety, a sophomore from Bakersfield, number 48, made the hit in the secondary. Graziani on a half roll. He's got A.J. Jelks out of the backfield. And Rio Wells did the smart thing. He got down low and prayed for help.
That's really the only way to tackle the big guy Jelks is around the ankles and then, you know, say a little prayer right before you do it that you're going to remember what happened. He's had a couple of nagging injuries this fall, but he sure looks good. You know, he's an excellent pass receiver for a big guy. I am continually amazed at how soft his hands are.
Jelks had 14 receptions a year ago. Now they give it to the big guy on the run, and nice job stuffing it up front. Well, it's second down and 10. 12:40 remaining in the second quarter. Kevin Parker in the slot to the top side of the screen. Draw play. This is busted at the line of scrimmage, and Jerry Brown unable to go anywhere. Good job by Fresno, kind of messing that up from the beginning, and Brown able to squeeze out maybe 2 yards. It'll be third and reception return for the
Ducks 1 for 3 in third down conversion so far.
Tony Hartley, true freshman, in a 1 wide receiver position, out pattern, and timing was not there. Jabri Hodge ran a 15-yard out, and Graziani was looking for about a 12-yard. And the deep man in single safety for Fresno State is Brian Roberson. Averaged over 18 yards of return, and he's going to get a chance to return this one. He's looking for the outside. Blake Spence, the tight end, catches him from behind. Wow, that's great speed for a guy that weighs over 250 pounds.
Outstanding punt coverage there by the Ducks. It's hard. I don't see why that isn't almost a push in the back there on
Lamont Woods.
But they'll probably say he was trying to turn. See, that's Josh Wilcox down there too. He doesn't just take a blow when it comes down to special teams. He's always been an outstanding performer on the punt cover team.
He was a linebacker in high school at Junction City. You see Arellanes, his numbers. Here's a little trap play with Pittman, a cut back, and this time Ryan Clausen fills the hole, number 46. Fresno felt coming in. They had a good offensive line. Osmondson, the center, number 58, 285-pound senior. Comes a five-man rush. Arellanes throwing deep. He's got a man down here behind the secondary. It's caught. Brian Roberson. Looked like he and Ronnie Gibson got tangled up, and Roberson was able to concentrate and hold on to the football while falling down.
8 yards. And a first down.
Bulldogs very fortunate because that ball hung in the air for a very long time. Good pressure inside. He throws off his back foot.
Great catch by Roberson. Young man caught 55 balls last year, 5 touchdowns. Wow, great concentration.
Well, the post corner, and Gibson was covering the post.
Fresno coaches beside us yelling they want timeout. We got these guys trained pretty good when they can hear them from all the way up here in the press box. First and 10 for the Bulldogs. Arellanes, that's actually a lateral. Oh man, what a play by Reggie Jordan. He was out there and dropped Pittman for a loss. I don't know if that goes as a pass or a run, but whatever it is, it's negative yardage.
You watch Reggie on this play, he is very agile at 260 pounds. A lot of times you worry about a guy picking up that much weight. This is a great open field tackle, and right before that, what you missed is that he avoided a blocker. Terrific athletes for the Ducks on the outside with Barnes and Reggie Jordan.
Now the Bulldogs getting their signals mixed up from the sideline, and so Arellanes decides we'll call a timeout as the clock was down to about 4 seconds. Welcome back to Bulldog Stadium, the season opener between the Ducks and the Bulldogs. Temperature now about 89 degrees and things heating up on the field. 2nd and 12 for Fresno State. Arellanes looking deep over the middle. He's got Tucker. This ball is picked up by Kenny Wheaton again. No, incomplete. Oh, Wheaton thought he had number 2 on the year.
It'll be interesting to see how far off the ground he jumped. Watch this athlete in the right corner of your screen, Kenny Wheaton. The ball's in the air. I'll tell you what, he explodes. Whoa, boy, I tell you, he got up there. Great play.
A little off balance, or he would have had number 2. Wow.
You know what's amazing is how much he has been around the ball just in the first half. You think Fresno would try to get away from that guy.
Eric Edwards in at a corner position, and Wheaton now moves back into a safety spot. Ducks looking to blitz here, a little stunt up front. Arellanes, roll out, going deep. Wheaton's down there again. This time he holds on. Gets a great block from McLemore, and he's got some room to run. Look at this guy's instinctive vision. He is unbelievable, folks. You are looking at a great, great football player. Kenny Wheaton. Chris Lee finally made the tackle, an offensive guard, but this guy's got more receptions than anybody else in the game.
And one thing, the Duck defense rallied. When they saw him with the interception, watch him, they look like they're setting up for a punt return. You never saw so many guys wanting to play blocks as with Wheaton's got the ball because they know it could go all the way. Good block by McLemore. Lamont Woods, Gibson. Gibson's looking for somebody to hit.
See, the amazing thing is one play he's a corner, the next play he's a safety.
We'll credit the Oregon defensive coaches for getting him in a spot where he can make the play.
Wide receiver screen out there is Patrick Johnson. Nice little move to the outside. He's got 6 yards up to the 45-yard line where Marlon Jackson, the right side corner, knocked him out. A junior from Fresno, attended Edison High School not too far from here. Well, Wheaton now has the most total yards of anybody. He's got a 69-yard return and a 26-yard return.
And look how smooth he makes his cuts. You know, nothing is forced. His head's not whipping around. This guy, he's a great player. I'll tell you, it looks like he could be a pretty good tailback.
He'd be pretty good just about what any position he played. 2nd and 4. The tailback, nothing doing. They have not established the run, that's for sure. The Fresno State defense up front has really done a nice job Alama Scanlon. Now, this guy, an interesting story here. An American Samoan. Came from a NAIA program, Iowa Wesleyan. Said, initially on the island and just looking to get to the mainland. He didn't know where Iowa was. He ended up in the cornfields back there. And then his girlfriend was going to school on the West Coast, but they ended up getting married. He ends up here at Fresno. Good football player. They really are high on him. Graziani in trouble, flushed. Sacked. He was only sacked 14 times all last year. This time he can't get rid of it. Bulldogs are tenacious. They keep after you.
Now this is good coverage. Wynn does a nice job of keeping his guy outside. But there's a time when a quarterback has got to take a sack.
Yes, that's right.
And that was
or throw it away. I mean, he was good at that last year too. So, but he's smart enough not to try to force something downfield. So unable to capitalize on the turnover and did well. He's had a good night tonight punting the football. Oh, it's a big spiral. Roberson's going to field it going back at his 7. But he can make things happen. And he's out over the 20-yard line to the 22. That was a career long of 54 yards for Josh Pittman. Back to that counter play to Pittman. He gets to the outside. B.J. Jackson holding along with Ryan Clausen. But that's a gain of 5. They run that counter play nicely tonight. 7.5 minutes to go, second quarter.
Bulldog offensive line doing a nice job. Again, the Oregon inside linebackers are really having a hard time either keying or staying off of blocks. And part of that is they got to get some help from their up front guys.
Yeah.
Commanding a double team so somebody can be free.
That's a good point. Defense might be getting a little tired too. They've been on the field a long time. Back to the run. Pittman cuts back, puts a juke on Clausen, I should say a Sermon. Left him standing in space before Clausen cleaned it up, along with Michael Fletcher. Near a first down. In fact, it is a first down for the Bulldogs.
Clausen actually did a pretty good job there at getting off a block and being on the tackle, but it doesn't help when you're 5 yards downfield making that tackle. You see that no one's getting off blocks here. A couple guys down.
Sermon's in space.
Missed tackle. Clausen is there, but 5 yards back is too far.
So first down for Fresno State at the 33-yard line.
You mentioned fatigue, Todd. The D-line really does look a little bit tired right now.
This time it's the big back Gray. He bounces to the outside, and right now, Fresno State's offensive line doing a very nice job up front. Gray, a big fella, rushed for 1,900 yards and 33 touchdowns last year at Bakersfield College.
Well, one of the things that's going to happen to a defense is when they get tired, it's going to be reflected in missed tackling. There were about 3 Ducks missed tackles there. Let's watch the inside guys, see if they get free. They're both blocked, head down, missed, arm tackle, arm tackle. That's what happens when you get tired, and some young guys in there.
Last year, the Ducks led the Pac-10 in rushing defense. 8th nationally at 105 yards a game. Different concept here tonight. Oh, wow, the concept right now ain't very good. Big hit from the secondary by McLemore, but not before another big gain near the midfield, driving a first down. A lot of guys looking at that sideline right now, wondering what in the world's going on. You see, they just trapped Brian Jackson there. Schmidt can't get there, and another missed tackle by Clausen.
Watch it. You got to get off those blocks. They're kind of catching them, Todd. They're playing it a little bit soft, and that's part of being tentative.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fresno. The Bulldogs have possession of the football. Oregon with the lead with a little under 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Fresno State already with 96 yards on the ground. Pittman 54 yards. And now they brought in the big guy, Michael Gray, who they really like. He led the California Junior College ranks in rushing and scoring last year. They're going to pound it at the Ducks. Comes that counter tray. Again, no containment. Gray to the outside. Good tackle by Ronnie Gibson, but boy, there's just no contain out there. Gray getting it done. He gets 8 more yards. Time of possession is whoppingly in favor of Fresno State right now. Go back to Pittman, and Clausen meets him about before Pittman is close to the first down. They're going to mark it right at about this is an offense. Fresno State has been in the top 10 nationally 5 of the last 6 years. I mean, most of the time it's been because of their passing attempt. They have the ability to do both. There's Pittman weaving his way, and he kind of squeezes out 2 or 3 yards when there was not much there. Made a couple. Jeff Branson comes in at a linebacker position right now. Would be the outside backer near side, 49. Just a quick out pattern for Tucker. Gets away from one man. That's Gibson. Gets away from Wheaton. And it's another first down for Fresno State. And the fatigue, no question, it's setting in right now. Branson came over and knocked him out of bounds. The Oregon offense has had the ball for 3 plays this quarter.
Well, this would not be a bad time for the coaches to call a timeout and let these guys try to gain their breath, because you don't want to give up a touchdown here and end up going in tied at halftime.
Arellanes is just back there enjoying himself. They give it back to Pittman to the outside. Bird misses the tackle. Another missed tackle by Michael Fletcher.
Well, Bird missed the initial tackle, but he did do a good job of getting upfield. You see him get off a block here, but he's going to force the back to go outside.
Nice hold there on Jordan by Ross.
Well, if anyone wanted to know why Jordan wasn't on the play, the guy would hooked him.
So 2nd and 5. Now to Pittman, tripped up by B.J. Bryant. Knifed in there, and B.J. 6'1", about 280. Really has a nose for the ball, and you can actually give him some forward progress of about 1.5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Fresno 2 for 5 on 3rd down conversion so far.
How come he wasn't marked back at the 22? That's where he fell. Whatever. Already, Arellanes. Pitch pattern. Is it caught? Yes, he's down. As Fletcher went for the deflection, didn't quite get it. As Arellanes and Roberson connect on a big 3rd down play, and the Bulldogs keep the drive alive.
Well, the smartest thing the Bulldogs did on that play, Todd, is they went away from number 20, Kenny Wheaton. Pretty good coverage here by the... You can't cover him closer than that without interfering.
In the NFL, he might have been able to get up and run into the end zone, but you're down when you make contact with the ground in college football.
That was an excellent reaction by Michael Fletcher. And
Louisiana. Well, this halftime we'll have an interview with head coach Mike Bellotti. We'll also hear more about Oregon's new indoor practice facility. We'll have the Budweiser halftime statistics and the by-Mart scoreboard as college football swings in the high gear. Pittman, 17 carries, 70 yards so far. 2nd and 6. Counterplay inside the Kimbrough. Nothing doing there. That's Tedford, and a penalty. Could be a face mask. That would be an automatic first down. Stops the clock with 1:20 to play in the half.
I don't think anybody pulls a face mask on purpose.
Inside, but remember, only 1 timeout remaining.
Be interesting to see if they come out in that 3-back backfield and run the same play over here to the left side that they did for the touchdown. Somehow they've got to get some penetration, keep this play from developing.
See, Oregon, all 3 of the penalties called so far tonight, 3 for 15 yards. And 1 a delay of game on a kickoff. First time we've ever seen that one. So the clock moves now. It's under a minute. They go to a 2-back set. Arellanes this time will keep. They have a chance at him. Intercepted in the end zone and then dropped. Unbelievable. That one could be a 7-point drop. Could be a 7-point drop. I thought he might have had it and then maybe dropped it on the way down, but let's take a look.
Why would Fresno throw the football here?
Well, they only have 1 timeout left.
Good job by Barnes.
Great play by McLemore. You got to commend him on his coverage. That was outstanding.
Still though, Todd, 50, that's almost a minute. The Ducks are having a hard time stopping the run. You don't know why they wouldn't keep doing it.
There's Pittman. He might have lost the ball. The ball is loose. Oregon has it. Oregon has the football. They forced the turnover at the 1. Jeff Branson, number 49, looked like he recovered the loose pigskin. 44 seconds remain in the half.
Somebody gets his hand in right.
Bryant Jackson, or Caleb Smith, excuse me. Caleb Smith, and then I think Reggie Jordan as well.
Well, and the Ducks are lucky they didn't get a tripping here. Caleb Smith kind of whipped around and leg whipped him.
Graziani trying to pick up an offsides, instead left side. That's a nice job. I think that was Saladin McCullough putting 2 hands on the ball. It was like he was at the other goal line. And so that gives them some breathing room. Let's see if Fresno calls a timeout. Try to force another play. Yes, indeed they do, and that's it for Fresno State.
Third charge timeout.
So they're out of timeouts. And that 1 yard gain there was as big a 1 yard as Oregon's had in the half.
You bet.
Well, Ken, you'd have to say, quite honestly, that the Ducks with 2 big plays, but holding on for dear life at the end of the half. They're going to need all 20 minutes of that halftime in the locker room. Well, a reminder, come early to the Ducks home opener on September 7th for your chance to greet and talk this year's U of O Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. Duck basketball legends such as Allison Lang Robertson and members of the Kamikaze Kids team will be on hand, including Ronnie Lee, Stu Jackson, and Greg Ballard. These and other all-time greats like track star Kathy Hayes Herman will be on the front steps of the Casanova Center from 10:30 to 11:15 a.m. So come by, say hello to these new Duck Hall of Famers. Wow, Kamikaze Kids, one of the great eras of Oregon athletics. Look at the turnovers. Fresno State with 3, Oregon 0. Last year, Oregon was -1 for the year. Fresno was -5 for the year. Graziani, give it to the back, and he just wants to find the dirt as quick as he can and hold on to that ball. That should be the final play of the half. So Saladin McCullough, young man who originally signed a letter of intent with USC, didn't get the scores, went to a couple of junior colleges, and the Ducks brought him into camp in the first week and has impressed many with his performance in the fall camp. Well, the final seconds ticking off here at Bulldog Stadium, and to the halftime locker rooms they go. At the end of the first 30 minutes of play, it's Oregon 14, Fresno State 7. And as you can look at it, Oregon was passing with 110 yards, but 88 of that came on one play. The big turnover, the big statistic has to be the turnover category for Fresno State.
And 2 of those turnovers have come inside the red zone for the Ducks. The Duck defense has been tough when they really desperately needed to. Fresno State, the ball 19 minutes first half. Ducks have got to turn that around.
Kenny Wheaton had the most time of possession for Oregon on the night. With his 2 picks, he almost had a third. And the big fumble recovery down by the goal line. Let's take a look at the halftime highlights. Loaded with big plays. First of all, Oregon going up top. Graziani to Patrick Johnson.
And this ball hung in the air a long time. Patrick Johnson beats Maryland Jackson, number 23, the corner. And I'll tell you, when he gets one step on anybody in the WAC Conference or Pac-10, unless you beat him in the track in the spring, you're not going to catch him.
And then it was time for the interception by Kenny Wheaton, playing corner on this play.
He's been all over the field, and he's played 3 different positions on defense. You mentioned his instincts. Watch this cut right here. He makes that quarterback, who's a very good athlete, look real bad. Wheaton, outstanding job for that Oregon defense. He has been the defense tonight.
Indeed, he has. Fresno State was able to come back. They marched 65 yards. Michael Pittman, a 3-yard scamper.
And you see those young linebackers are getting caught inside, getting blocked. Give the Bulldog offense credit. They're doing a fine job of blocking. That's an adjustment the Oregon defensive coaches are going to have to make to get their people free and off of those blocks.
Fresno State continued to apply the pressure in the second quarter, but again, it was Kenny Wheaton thwarting another Fresno State effort, this time playing safety.
Pretty good job by Derek Barnes of getting some pressure, his hands in the face. Just watch how smooth Kenny Wheaton is here. That great foot movement. Those guys on defense are rallying to the block because they know when Wheaton's got it, he can go all the way.
Well, he has once tonight, and that is the margin of difference. Just about ready for the start of the second half. If you remember and were with us to start the ball game, Fresno State had the option. They elected to defer, so they will receive to start the second half. Oregon will defend the south goal. And after a 9-3 season, the expectations have gone to an even higher level for he and his troops this year.
Well, it appears almost as if they've been told they have 5 minutes to be on the field, and then they get out there and all of a sudden, let's go. It just appears that the normal time frames are not right here, and that's what Bellotti is reacting to. the Fresno kickers came out with 4 minutes to go in the halftime show and were kicking, warming up. And, you know, that's really a pretty good idea for teams to do that.
Yeah, and they didn't even have to kick off to start the third quarter.
I think Bidwell was down here kicking off into the net, trying to get warm.
There's Bidwell. Had a good first half punting the ball. Averaged 45 yards on 4 attempts. Sidewinder here, very high, trying to get that coverage underneath. This is going to be Pratt. He's outside, and it's Bidwell that makes the tackle.
Outstanding job by Bidwell. He looked like a defensive back on that play. Certainly no timidity in getting after that guy.
Big test in question will be, will Fresno State try to continue to wear and pound on the Oregon defensive front? It's going to be Arellanes with play action pass. Looking for Tucker, and in and out. Nice pattern there by Tucker as he beats Ronnie Gibson. Real nice pattern as he started at the post and then curled back to the outside, and Anthony Tucker has the reception. The spring, he had a broken thumb and a cast on, but he's come back in full strength this fall.
Good protection up front. Gibson's giving up a lot of room. You know, he was beaten on that post corner earlier, and probably, as a result, playing a little bit more cautiously.
Put back to the ground. Pittman trying to bounce outside, nothing doing this time. There's a nice job of filling on the outside. Peter Sermon, he had a couple of guys that he missed in the first half, but that was a solid tackle.
Outstanding play. The defensive line bottled things up inside, forced him outside, and there's Sermon was being unblocked and didn't miss the tackle. That is excellent defense. That's the difference between a 5-yard gain and no gain.
Changes the down and distance a great deal, certainly. Pittman out of the ball game right now for Fresno State. Jamie Kimbrough will be the lone back. And Fortier, the tight end, lined up the kind of a slot position. Stays in as a blocker. Jordan with backside heat. Arellanes looks like he's going to run. And he'll get to the line of scrimmage and a gain of maybe 2. Loose ball. Who's got it? They're going to say, as they unpile the stack, that he may have had a leg down, knee down, before the ball came. It's not known as a scrambler per se.
Good job by the contained guys outside, Barnes and Jordan. Missed tackle there, but
that ball is a fumble.
Yeah, he knocked the ball out of there.
That's a fumble. He was not down. That ball came loose right there. No question. Missed call. So it'll be 3rd down and 9.
Fresno 3 for 6. First half 3rd down conversions.
Back in the block, the out pattern caught Roberson, and he's got room. He faked Eric Edwards out. McLemore trying to prevent the score, and Edwards comes back. Oh, what a play by Roberson. He had Edwards turned inside and out.
I once heard a coach say that every lesson learned is in direct proportion to the pain experienced in learning this. And boy, right here, you're going to see corner is turned inside out right there. Outstanding move by that wide receiver.
Nice job of isolating their best receiver on a young sophomore corner.
Eric Edwards didn't really have to be yelled at there. He knew exactly that he had overcommitted himself and he was not under control.
Back to Pittman, left side, huge hole, runs right through Sermon to the 10-yard line, gain of 7. They're doing a great job blocking. You can see Brian Jackson flat on his back there, but he got double teamed, so he does his job. Schmitty can't spin out of it, but your linebacker has to fill, and he just unable to get there.
Well, and that play actually went to the other side of the field and cut back, and I'm sure Sermon has got to hold his area just a little bit. The onside linebacker, I think it was Derek Allen, was blocked. And then doesn't help when you miss the tackle.
Back to Pittman, right side, gaping hole, inside the 5 to the 4, and right now Fresno's offensive line is controlling this football game. You wonder how long this defense can hold up. They are taking a beating up front. Just one-on-one there.
Nobody's getting off blocks.
Nice job by Sermon to come over, but when you're hitting them 5 yards downfield, you're in for a lot of trouble. Pittman now 21 carries, 86 yards. First drive, 3rd quarter. And it looks like right now the only thing that can stop Fresno State is Fresno State. Go right up the gut. Pittman down to about the 2-yard line. Keep it with Pittman. He's near the goal line. I don't think he got in, though. He got down to inside the 1. Oregon had a couple of great goal line stands a year ago. Could use one here. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Unbalanced line right.
Good line search. Kimbrough into the end zone. Touchdown, Fresno State. Kimbrough gets his first touchdown this year. That matches his total all of a year ago. So Armand Tarigian in to tie the ball game with a point after. 9 plays, 67 yards, 453. 2 big plays on that drive. There looks like an offside. That ball can be picked up, but I think Bryant Jackson was offside. That might change the complexion for Fresno State.
It's interesting, Todd, you mentioned going for 2. With the overtime rule being the way it is today, I think that it's to your advantage to keep the game tied than risk being down by 1, getting in an odd point situation.
But the way they're running the ball, Ken, keep your eye on the center. Remember, they can't touch him until 1 second after the ball has been snapped, unless he fires out to block. And the point after is good, and we're tied. So the Ducks with the first 14 points, the Bulldogs with the next 14 points, and we're back to square one. 10:07 remaining 3rd quarter. We're all tied at 14. 1-yard touchdown by Jamie Kimbrough, and with the point after, Fresno State has tied this game at 14-14.
And you see, Todd, Fresno's bringing in 2 running backs to lead in on those linebackers too. That's a very tough situation.
Tarigian to boot it off, and he's been banging these things into the end zone. This one kind of a pooch kick near side. Saladin McCullough. He's got some speed. Oh, somebody grabbed him on the shoulder pad at just about the time he was ready to put it into the next gear. Draws to throw. Out pattern. Cut. Gain of about 6 yards out over the 40-yard line. Chris Bain made the tackle. Outside linebacker who was a safety last year. Patrick Johnson with the reception. Second to long 3. Draws to throw. Another short hitch pattern drop.
And really, that's the only way you can stop that. I saw the corner was giving him 9 yards there, and on the snap of the ball, he made it 12 real fast. Ball just hit him right in the chest. You got to catch those.
So now it'll be 3rd down. At that point, he's got the first down. That would have been the big thing, but unable to hold on. So it'll be 3rd down and a long 3. Johnson, the motion man. Penalty flag. Graziani caught by Wilcox, but I think we'll have a motion call against Oregon. Wilcox gang tackled. He would have had the first down. I want to see this call because Parker went forward with his hand, but then it looked like he had come to a stop. But they're going to call it back. They're calling an illegal shift. 2 guys in motion maybe at the same time.
That's right.
They're going to call Wilcox. They're the man he's talking to.
Well, or Wilcox is one of the captains. So
that could be. 4th penalty of the night for Oregon.
The Ducks were 1 for 5 in 3rd down conversions the first half, and that's well below an average they're used to getting.
We had an illegal shift, 2 men in motion at the same time, 5-yard penalty against the offense. Repeat the 3rd down.
Look at that time of possession, 2 to 1. 4-man rush. Pretty good protection, crossing pattern. Parker caught it, short of the first down. Big hit by Chris Bain. So Oregon underneath with everything, no running plays, and they have to go 3 and out. High snap, not much of a rush though. And a spiral. Roberson. Fields, he's got room to run. Bidwell makes his 2nd special teams tackle, but Roberson has the ball in Oregon territory at the 43. Omar Stoutmeyer with the big return. Excuse me, Brian Roberson, the big return. Well, when he gets open field, he's off and running. 39-yard return, and Bidwell prevents the touchdown.
Well, the big problem there, Todd, is 3 Oregon rush guys running right behind each other and leaving 2 open lanes, and that was just too much room for a guy of that caliber. He averaged 18.2 yards punt return last year.
Well, you'd have to say Oregon is very fortunate to be in a tie ball game with that statistic. And Fresno 1st and 10 at the Oregon 43. 8:10 remaining third quarter. Back to the run. And this is the big guy, Michael Gray, and he grinds out about 3 yards to the 40-yard line. See Neil Zambucas. I don't know what adjustments he can make. I mean, they've only been on the field for 20-some plays.
That's really tough because you don't have any margin for error right now the way things are going. Just watching the defensive line that last play, Todd, they came off the ball real good. Anytime they hold them to 2 yards or less on first down, you can see there's a definite difference in the intensity level, and that may be part of the problem.
Cut back by Pittman. Pittman to the outside. Knocked out of bounds by Brandon McLemore at the 16-yard line. First down for Fresno State, and Pittman now over 100 yards. Junior from San Diego.
Going to see a missed tackle out here on the left side. Lamont Woods, he's really not in a great position to make that tackle. These Fresno ball carriers have done a great job of bouncing outside when the Ducks have stuffed things inside, as they did right there.
Missed a couple of games last year with a knee injury, but he looks full strength tonight. They're going to work that horse. Reggie Jordan, boy, he was being held and tackled and still made the tackle defensively. And Arellanes has had a kind of an easy night back there. Hasn't had to throw that much. He's been picked off a couple of times, but he's not wasting a lot of energy just handing off. Back to Pittman. There's how you feel. Sermon right at the line of scrimmage since he's been here.
Good job. Desmond Bird forced that lineman inside and helped Sermon remain free. No one on him. He made the tackle there. You know, little by little, defense kind of showing a little bit of pizzazz. This is a big play here. Fresno 2 for 2 on third down conversions this half. 5 for 8.
And in motion is Roberson. They're going to look for the tight end Fortier. It is incomplete. Great effort by Michael Fletcher to break it up, the strong safety.
The ball was hung up there just long enough for him to get back and make the play. That was great. Watch him go to the football here. Now he's open right now. The ball's hanging in the air. Ball slightly underthrown. That helped the Ducks out. That's a potentially a 4-point play right there.
So Armand Torigian in to attempt a 30-yard field goal. Damon Hicklin, the holder, back up wide receiver. Kick is up, and it's good. And for the first time tonight, Fresno State has the lead. The Bulldogs with 5:52 remaining in the third quarter lead the Ducks 17-14. 39,312 fans in attendance. That's the 8th largest crowd in Bulldog Stadium history. Here comes the speed burner, Johnson. Remember last year that first time he ever returned a kick was against the Huskies on the opening kickoff, and he went the distance. And kind of a similar play. Got into a pile there and broke free.
I'm sure Neil Zambucas, the offensive line coach, appealed to their pride. This is supposed to be the best offensive line in Oregon history, and these guys really haven't had an opportunity. They're going to have to make their opportunity here, make things happen.
Wilcox comes out off the playing surface. Draws to throw. Oregon has not run it so far this half. Blake Spence, the tight end, all alone in the secondary, midfield and into Fresno State territory at the 47-yard line. So when in doubt, go to the tight ends. They really are the experienced and bread and butter guys for the Oregon offense. Rio Wells made the tackle for Fresno State.
Good protection up front. Good protection up front for Graziani, and he puts it right over the linebacker. Nice catch by Spence. You look, that middle is wide open behind the linebackers. Spence, very athletic, great catch.
First down in the second half for Oregon. Barely got that snap off. Here's Patrick Johnson looking to make the move into the inside. He's got some room to run. Boy, there's where that speed comes into play. He just burst up the seam there inside the 35 to the 32 before Chris Bain knocked him down.
And give credit to Kevin Parker, number 24. He threw a real nice block that allowed Johnson to be one-on-one with the remaining guy. And I'll tell you what, you give him some room out there. Watch 24. He's going to make a nice block on the corner. Johnson decides to go inside, use his speed to get away from those other guys. There's Wilcox down there helping out too. Good job by the Ducks.
Johnson out of the ballgame, a bit of a breather. Damon Griffin in with Jabri Hodge, the two wideouts. I set jokes. Flea flicker. They're going to go to Damon Griffin. He's all alone. He has got it for the touchdown. The old flea flicker. And Damon Griffin got behind the secondary for the score.
You know, it was a great executed play. They fooled the people inside. You're going to see the safety kind of hang. Number 46 steps up, and he's not going to be able to help his corner to the left. See, he's running with his back turned. Jackson needed help from his corner. He was faked out by that run play. Great execution by the Ducks. Jackson's going, hey, where are you, two? Two saying, hey, I thought they were handed off the tailback. That was a great look at just how that safety was held. It kept him from being a help on the touchdown pass.
Smith to tip the extra point. He's 3 for 3 tonight. Wow, just when all the momentum was in Fresno State's favor, the Ducks come back 3 plays, 74 yards. The only bad part is, Ken, they only took 56 seconds. But it is a touchdown and a 4-point lead.
And it is some momentum.
Ducks go to the bag of tricks to take the lead once again.
And this is what they call an alumni play. Nice job by Parker of coming up and sucking that safety in so he can't help his corner.
Good throw by Graziani. Sometimes when a guy's so wide open, you can get a little case of concrete elbow.
Nice job by Griffin because that corner did close on the ball and he did make a nice catch under pressure. Those are the kind that's not too difficult to drop sometimes.
Nice numbers for Graz. He's been the offense tonight.
I suspect that's what Bellotti has decided.
There's that short kick again. Pratt, and instead it's going to be Roberson. He's kind of in the pile there and then bounces outside the pile, and A.J. Jelks wrapped him up at the 27-yard line. A.J. some action here on the kickoff return defense team. See quickly Oregon strikes. A lot of time to go. 4:50 in the third quarter. Out of the one-back set. Upstairs he goes. Pressured late over the middle, and it is caught. Greg Minity, the junior from Yuba City. Nice sliding catch at the 40-yard line.
Reggie Jordan was right in quarterback's face. See, good pressure. There's some holding going on number 61 of Fresno.
Good alley to throw, though, for Arellanes up the middle.
I don't think they're going to call holding tonight.
Hasn't been a call made.
They've had some excellent opportunities on the Bulldogs that they've elected not to throw the flag.
First down for Fresno State. Arellanes, 2 picks. Here's the drop play to Kimbrough, and he bounced right into Derek Barnes. And there's Reggie Jordan once again, all over the field. Jordan moving up the all-time sack list as you look at Patrick Johnson being attended to. Getting those contacts put back into shape. You know, his first year at Oregon, he had some problems with his vision. And ended up, in fact, should he have the contacts in or should he have them out? Well, he had them in tonight, and he had a nice catch. Here comes the late blitz. The out pattern, it's caught by Roberson, and he's tackled immediately by Lamont Woods up by midfield.
That's right, and defensive coaches say, hey, third down is our opportunity to make, not only stop them, but make an emotional play for our offense.
A year ago, the Ducks were the best in the league, allowing only 28% first down. They'll go back to the run. Pittman, he's close. There's a big stack there right at about the 48.5-yard line. And it's close.
No wind. The only wind is the people down here to our right who are, it's like they're at the opera and the heat's on. They're all fanning themselves with the programs.
It's closer than fuzz on a tick's ear.
Well, we're glad you got that one out of the way early, Todd.
Unofficially, Ryan Clausen, the inside linebacker, has 16 tackles for the Ducks. Busy, busy man. This game can turn.
That's right. This is an opportunity for that defense to atone for some of those other plays early on.
They get up there in a hurry. Will they try to draw him off? No, they'll go with the running play to Kimbrough, and he's got the first down.
Watch these guys coming in there. There's a lot of beef in front of that ball carrier. You know, I like what I see with the Oregon offense, their defense. They are battling. They look like they've got a little bit more spirit going on than they did latter stages of the second quarter.
2.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Oregon leading 21-17. Play action pass. They're trying to go deep. They got a man deep. He's open, and the ball is batted away by McLemore. Boy, that's about 3 times that he's put a lick on a receiver down there when it looked like he was open.
I'll tell you, Oregon fans are going to enjoy watching McLemore. He breaks on the ball. He's got a sense of where he should be, taking good angles. I'll tell you, it's difficult to get. You saw the angle that the Bulldog safety took earlier on that pass to Johnson. There's a redshirt freshman there. Perfect angle. This is why a lot of guys are saying, hey, this guy has got a big-time future ahead of him.
Actually had a chance maybe to intercept there, but he really put a lick on Roberson. We got Tucker split to the near side here on Lamont Woods. Arellanes a little down and in pattern. He's got his man. It's close to the first down as they work on Gibson. Damon Hicklin, who was the holder moments ago on the point after.
On Fresno, I say we're going to go to the left side.
Look at that first down totals. 20-7, but the Ducks with the advantage on the scoreboard. This looks like a Chinese fire drill. The coaches up here again are calling for timeout for Fresno. And again, they have to burn a timeout when they probably didn't want to. That's the third time tonight that they came out in the wrong formation. Arellanes on a rollout. B.J. Jackson with pursuit. This is going to be a big loss if Branson could have made a tackle. Instead, it's a big gain, and Branson's inability to wrap up costs the Ducks about 18 yards.
Wow.
Michael Pittman really has been very strong tonight, and by all rights, he should have been dropped for a 10-yard loss.
Well, Branson did a very good job of smelling that play out. You're going to see him out there. I think at a moment he thought he might be able to even intercept the ball.
I mean, how do you miss that one?
Well, your head goes down and you overextend. You know, you leave your feet. Yeah, that could have been a big play. It was for Fresno.
It's a gain of almost 10. It'll be second down and short. And there's Jordan again with another tackle. Going to that short yardage look. This time they go left side with Pittman. And he's close to the first down. I wouldn't give it to him. That was pretty good defense over there. Short yardage play again. Kimbrough bouncing to the outside. There's that man McLemore again. I don't know if he made it. I think he's short of the first down. They're going to mark it for about a half-yard tackle.
Watch on the outside here, outside of Barnes. There's Wheaton turning them in, and McLemore. That didn't look like much, but Wheaton did a terrific job on that play.
So it's 4th and a half yard. We're going to go back to Pittman. This time he's got the first down to the 25. And that'll be it. The end of 3 quarters of play from Bulldog Stadium in Fresno. Oregon holding on to the lead as they have the advantage, 21-17, heading into the final 15 minutes of regulation.
Well, the Duck defense is really putting up a much better fight. You know, they're making the Bulldog offense extend themselves. That's part of the process of bouncing back.
Go back to Kimbrough. He tries to bounce outside, and somebody's got that right leg down there at the bottom. Stefan DeVries. Now, DeVries started this year as a center, but with the depletion in that defensive line, they moved him over a couple of weeks ago, and he's done some nice things. Showed up in the scrimmage last week, number 63, right in the middle of the huddle there. Now he'll come out. It's time to put Pittman in motion. 4-man front, the out pattern. It's caught by Pittman, and Lamont Woods, who's a pretty sure tackler out there on the corner, came up and made a nice stop for a very limited gain, maybe 2 yards. Lamont Woods, a senior from Corvallis, and in the finals of the Pac-10 100 meters a couple of times in his career.
Well, Fresno's 3 for 3 on third down conversions this half.
3 wideouts, no tight end. Arellanes, the pass is caught! Great catch. That's probably pass interference anyway. Roberson with a man draped all over him. Big play.
Well, the Ducks are not able to get enough pressure on the passer. Someone gets his hand up, but again, defensive back coming to the inside. The ball is thrown to the outside. See, Gibson overcommitted to the inside. Yeah. You bet.
Well, let's see if they take the pass completion or the penalty. I would assume they take the pass completion. That would give them the ball inside the 5.
Yeah, it'd be pretty much at the same spot.
You made a good point, Ken. Pressure on...
Pass interference. Number 21 on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
But no inside pressure. They've done a nice job protecting the passer. You really got to give that Fresno State offensive line a lot of credit. They have done a tremendous job tonight. Keep it on the ground. Pittman, he dives forward to the 3. Knifing in there was Garth White, young man who played at Thurston High School for Don Stone. They've gone away from that power formation, now in the I formation. Pittman right at the goal line, and he is into the end zone. Touchdown right up the gut. Made it look easy. This guy is having a whale of a night. And the Bulldogs regain the lead. An Oregon player is injured. And that looks like McLemore. He had a tremendous collision with Pittman.
Let's look to see McLemore on the right-hand side here. Now he's coming to the middle.
Kind of came in there sideways and got the full force of Pittman.
Well, you know, it looks like it's his well, he did take a blow to the sternum there. He's still willing to go in there as he does. He's certainly willing to fill the hole.
16 plays, 72 yards, 7.5 minutes. They're just flat out wearing the Ducks out. Well, Torigian to try to give the Bulldogs a 3-point lead. And it is good. Just squeaked that one in the right up post. And so the Bulldogs regain the lead, and back and forth we go with 12:29 remaining in the ball game. Just take a look at that last touchdown from the safety position's point of view.
Well, one thing he sees, there's way too big a gap with no linemen or linebackers there.
That can't have been the right call. I mean, you got guys twisting and nobody near the center.
Todd, I think you could have run that one in.
Maybe so, although I don't know if I could have run over McLemore. Torigian, very, very short kick. Nobody's going to catch this one, but McCullough on the bounce. Just looking for anything that doesn't have red on it at this point. He does a pretty good job just to get to the 31.
Well, and it's really, they're being out-muscled. I mean, it's not like it's a mirror, you know.
Look at that time of possession. And yet, it's only a 3-point game. Graziani to pass. Sacked. Second sack of the night. The Ducks have not run the ball in the second half. Scanlon with the sack. I don't think Oregon's had a running play in the second half, have they?
I don't think so.
Well, the two young wideouts come out of the ball game, Hartley and Collins, and you can see Graziani just had nowhere to go with it. And that's a coverage sack. Scanlon making his presence felt. 2nd and 12, and this red wave is getting excited. Graziani flushed again. Looking deep down over the middle, he's got Jabri Hodge for a first down. Great job by Graziani to stay alive. Marlon Jackson the tackle. And give credit to Hodge, too, for coming back to help.
And that's a good job by Graziani. He heads, you're going to see him head for the sidelines to the left here. Right now, and I think he's going to go out of bounds right here, and he says, no, wait a second. There's a guy, and that's great vision. That is great vision to see him. Nice job by Hodge being in the vicinity of the first down. That's why Graziani's a great player. He makes things happen even when things aren't going so good.
Quick pattern, and somebody didn't either hear it or understand it. Kevin Parker, the tailback, slotted to the near side. Johnson and Jabri Hodge, the wide receivers. Little screen set up here for Jerry Brown. It's one guy missed. He's got a first down, and he's out of bounds in Fresno State territory at the 44-yard line.
And this will take a little bit off the pass rush, but Jackson, who's had a tough time out there at corner at times tonight, misses the tackle. Good job by Brown. Ducks have got guys who can do something when they get the ball, but they got to get a little bit more open space.
There you see the rushing. Oregon has rushed it a couple of times, 13 yards. So 1st and 10 at the 44. There's the draw play, goes to Jelks. That's not his forte. His forte is running over guys, not trying to tippy-toe. And a good tackle by A.J. Gass. That's how you tackle big guys.
Well, and he does it right at ground level, because any higher than that, and Jelks is going to punish you. Watch this. This is right around the ankle tops, right? And, you know, that's extremely tough for a big guy to get down there and protect his ankles. sure AJ would rather this guy try to chest him up and run over the top of him.
Well, they've scouted him out pretty good, you know.
Well, that's a self-preservation tackle, Todd. It doesn't take a lot of intelligence.
Two tight ends, Wilcox and Spence. Comes the roll. Graz, shuffle, now he can run. Spins, and he gets a couple of yards. He's got about 7 yards on that play. Good effort by Graziani. Alan Nicholas, transfer, and Gas once again in on the tackle.
Number 55.
Here again, he wants to throw the ball, but he's smart enough to know he's not going to force it. And watch as he spins here. He's going to take a shot right there on the hip. Big third down.
Third down on a long 4. Graziani with over 200 yards passing. His team down by 3. Fresno, 4-man rush. Batted down at the line of scrimmage. He was looking to go to the tight end Wilcox. And Shatoni Sargent, I should say, batted it down. He's 6'5", so got those big old claws up there. Let's see what the Ducks do. 4th and about 4.5. Do they pin him deep, or do they go for it here?
This is really an indictment of the defense, I think, because they feel that they may not be able to stop him.
Looking for the tight end, batted away! Incomplete. Great play by Chris Bain. They went to the well. Josh Wilcox, and great coverage by Bain. And the Ducks turn it over on downs.
Well, you'd like to get it to your big play guy, but in this situation, Wilcox has really got too many guys around him. This ball is...
Well, he might have been able to catch that one.
Might have been. Saw Parker downfield a little deeper. Looked like he was a little more open.
Oregon has been able to answer the previous time that the Bulldogs took the lead. Now it's up to the defense. Can they get it done? Going to go back to Pittman, bouncing outside. He gets around Clausen. Another man misses. Stop the clock with 9:09 left to go.
To 9:05. Recently set the clock to 9 minutes and 5 seconds.
They need to make something happen soon. Last time the Bulldogs had the ball, they consumed 7.5 minutes off the clock. There's the tight end. He jumped.
The first penalty on the offense tonight.
That's right. First penalty of the night against the Fresno St.
False start. Number 46. 5-yard penalty in the offense. It's still second down.
First penalty against Fresno State. Well, Jim Sweeney, see him on the sidelines there, lucky to be alive in a terrible accident back in March. There's that counter trade of Pittman. And he gets to the line of scrimmage, maybe 1 yard. Terrible accident. He was in a car with his wife, and they were driving home, going about 55 miles an hour behind another car, and all of a sudden the other car moved off and staring him right in the face is the back end of a parked flatbed truck. And he careened right in it. Fortunately, you know, he ducked, and so did his wife, or they say they might have been decapitated. Broken bones in his leg, ribs, and yet the guy was back out on the practice field a couple of weeks later. He's a tough old guy. You might say he's a true bulldog. 19th season down here. Arianes to throw. Pressured, he can run. And he's hit from behind. Gets maybe 2 yards. Patrick Johnson, 1 touchdown tonight on an 88-yard pass reception. Here's a low kick. He doesn't come up to field it. Takes it on 1 bounce. Heads near sideline. Breaks through the first wedge. And a nice run by Patrick Johnson, and a helmet goes off of the Bulldog tackler. 7:10 remaining. Fresno State leading 24-21.
Todd, do you think overtime might be a possibility?
It might be. You see Jim Sweeney 13-8 versus the Pac-10. He's got a better record versus the Pac-10 now than when he was coaching it. Graziani to throw on first down. Looking for the deep ball down the middle. He's got Jabri Hodge dropping. Good throw right on the money.
Yep. Parker attracts the linebacker. They throw it behind him. Johnson had, you know, stretched the defense. There was a big hole. You got to make that catch. Got to make that catch.
You have to say Tony Graziani has been on the money most of the night. He's made good decisions. Stops the clock, 7:05 to go. Four-man rush. Draws flushed. Now throws deep, has Johnson, but overthrew Johnson. 3rd and 10. Four-man rush, and it's a good rush. And down he goes! 3rd sack of the night. You can only throw the ball so often before those guys up front just start teeing off. Robinson in on the sack, and Graziani sacked only 14 times all year long, down for the 3rd time tonight.
Good pressure inside. You see number 93 getting in there. And again, it's easier to rush the passer when you know they are not going to or cannot run.
You've got to be able to run the football. And tonight the Ducks have not been able to do it. So Bidwell. Good high spiral. Roberson back at the 29. Gets away from Woods. And Matt Lafrano might have saved a touchdown.
You see the Woods' job there is just to flush them and make them cut somewhere. But you can see that no one's getting off blocks. Very close to a clip there by number 59.
And for the most part, it has been on the scoreboard. There's Pittman onto the outside, no contain. And he's got 7, almost 8 yards. There's Pittman, he's got a 1st down. That'll keep the clock moving after they move the chains. 32 yards rushing.
The Ducks have got to hold them to less than 4 yards on 1st down and, put them in a position where they may have to throw the ball.
And Pittman, a big night, 142 yards. A couple of touchdowns, or 1 touchdown for him. There he is. This time they stuff it up there. Gain of maybe 1 yard. 4.5 remaining. The last stand for the Oregon defense, as Fresno State has its 2nd and 10 at the Oregon 41-yard line. Time is at a premium, and now the Ducks have only 2 timeouts left. Double tight end alignment. Counter play to Kimbrough. He bounces outside. Michael Fletcher wraps him up there after a gain of about 3 yards. So it'll be 3rd down. See if Oregon will take a timeout here. The coaches are demanding one, and they get one. Well, as tough a time that that Oregon defense has had, they need to make one more play.
Now you see the defensive line there. They're not waiting to see what's happening. They're coming upfield, making contact at the line of scrimmage, and as you can see, they're not giving up that ground. I don't know if that's a normal adjustment they make, but I certainly see they're getting a lot more out of their run defense when they get that defensive line attacking. Well, I think Oregon's going to be a better running team than they've showed tonight, and I mean, we're all hopeful that the defense can kind of get their act together.
Going to run the draw bay with Kimbrough, and there's Reggie Jordan. What a game he has played. He's been magnificent out there. Well, nearly a full moon over Fresno, and right now the Bulldogs enjoying the evening immensely as they lead by 3 with 4:09 to play. 4th down for Fresno State. And for a little pooch punt here. Instead, they get a booming spiral. Let's see what kind of a bounce. A tremendous bounce. 1-yard line. It's a good bounce, and so the ultimate challenge to the Oregon offense here. They've got to go down the field, 99 yards to the goal line. A 3-pointer would tie the game. And maybe force a potential overtime contest.
I mean, you've got to play the percentages and hope that ball goes in. There's really nothing the Ducks could have done. But here's the guy you want on your side when you got to go 99 with 3:59 to go in the game.
See Oregon with no timeouts, although the clock does stop to move the change on 1st downs. Graziani on a roll. It's dangerous. He's in his own end zone, and he throws it out of bounds. Johnson went up the field, and Graziani threw the out. Graziani took a hit after he threw it. It'll be 2nd down from the 1. Well, 2 years ago, the Ducks went 97 yards against Washington to come from behind and win that ball game at Autzen Stadium. It's a little different on the road, and a little different when you're in your 1st game of the season. Quick slant, no, the hitch. Jabri Haji dropped another one. And he's the guy they said had the best fall camp. Jackson on the coverage, so it's 3rd down.
Well, that's simply a case of Hodge trying to catch the ball and run with it before securing it.
job by Jabri Hodge. Big play where the Ducks would have had the ball in Fresno State territory. See the third down conversions. The Ducks need one here. Graziani on a roll, and he's going to have time to throw here. He's got to throw the ball. He's going to throw it all the way across the field. He's got Parker. You got to get the first down. He does. Oh, wow. What a play by Graziani.
And that looked like a late hit.
What a play by Graziani.
Great vision for him to check the field out and see a receiver running away from him.
He almost stepped out of bounds over here.
That's right, and he's a left-hander. He's going to be able to see things better to his left than to his right. He stands in there, knows he's going to take the hit. Now watch this.
So first down, and now the clock restarts. 3:33 to go. Graz, great protection. Dump, Eric Wynn. Tough guy. He gets the first down. That'll stop the clock at the 39-yard line. Good composure by Graziani, and Eric Wynn, who's a good receiver out of the backfield from that fullback position.
Ducks have a lot of time. I mean, they don't have any timeouts, but there's a lot of times they've got a lot of weapons to get that ball to the outside and get out of bounds if necessary. Saw him practice this last Friday night. The old 2-minute drill.
Clock starts, 3:18 to go. They run the draw play. Jerry Brown needs to get outside. He does, and he's near another first down at the midfield stripe. Where do they mark it? I think it's good enough for the first down. Right at the 50. Well, we knew this was going to be a good one. We're glad you could join us tonight from Fresno.
Well, they had to go 99 yards. Tony has taken them halfway there. 4 plays.
Now those Oregon fans that have been quiet most of the second half got something to cheer about.
And potentially a field goal is a possibility.
Draws the pass. Deep down the middle, he's got Damon Griffin. Griffin with 1 touchdown reception tonight. Ball marked at the 25. Now the scenario changes a lot. Now you can run the ball if you so desire, just to give you a change of pace. Boy, Graziani's just been razor sharp.
You can also go into a huddle. Now,
Fresno State wants the timeout now.
Ideally, Oregon would like to get a touchdown with very little time, so Fresno has to throw the football. But remember, we have overtime this year, folks.
That's right.
And I'm sure if it gets down to 4th down here, you know, in a reasonable distance, the Ducks would probably, that would be a big decision for them. But you know, they talk about that rule and how it's affected football. More people will be playing for ties in regular time, knowing they got a shot at overtime.
Yeah, because in years past, at least until they changed the rule, or when they changed the rule where you had to have a winning record to go to a bowl game, up until that point you could maybe play for a tie, and that wouldn't be so bad. Now you play for a tie, you know, it means you got to win 6 games, you know, and that changes the complexion of a lot of coaches.
They get a little pale.
You betcha. Because in this situation, you know, they're still 25 yards away from the goal line. And there's a lot of possibilities left. Jerry Brown checks back in for Oregon in the backfield. Kevin Parker will come out.
Well, the nice thing is the Ducks are now driving towards the end of the stadium where their fans are, and they really haven't had much to yell about tonight. They're getting back into it.
Yeah, every Oregon touchdown has been scored down in the left end zone here. See if Fresno changes up and tries to apply a little more pressure here. Graz is the big fake. He's got a little room to run. He can get to the outside and get out of bounds. Instead, he throws it. There's some bumping in the end zone. I'm a little surprised Tony didn't just take that ball and get 4 or 5 positive yards.
Yeah. You get a little greedy, and you know,
yes,
if he's gotten greedy tonight throwing the ball, it may have been to Wilcox.
That'll be 2nd down. Oregon is within, well, they're right at the edge of Joshua Smith's field goal range. Throws that one up in the crowd. A little bumping there, but the ball was not catchable, it looks like. 2nd and 10 from the Fresno 25 with 2:54 remaining. Here's that little screen inside to Damon Griffin. He who hesitates is lost, my friend. And he gets to the line of scrimmage. That's it. Chris Bain, nice play, good reactionary play. Now it's third down, and you are borderline field goal range right here. Borderline. It'd be a 42-yarder, which would match the longest of Smith's short one-year career. I think you'd be asking a lot. Again, this ball game rests on the arm of Tony Graziani, apparently. At least for now, at least for this play. Good protection. Graz over the middle. He's got his man. And it is going to be close to the first down. I think it is a first down. Damon Griffin. Boy, he gave up his body to get that first down, and I think he got it or is close. And he is hurt. He took a lick. Nice job by Graz to look off.
Just used all his receivers on the right side to clear an area. The Ducks have got a lot of real fast guys. It's hard to keep up with them on those crossing routes. This is a tough tackle here, folks.
Try to go over the top, and they'll bring in the sticks to measure, and Griffin is down. There's 2 minutes to go, 1:58. See if we can see where maybe Griffin was injured. Yeah, maybe on that hip. Griffin 4 receptions, 68 yards tonight, and 1 touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you what, that little jump there helped them get the first down. That's a terrific play, and you need plays like that on a drive like this.
It is a first down, and the clock now moves, 1:53 and counting. Fresno now with a 6-man line. Saladin, and we have a penalty flag as well. Dropped for about a 2-yard loss, but we do have a flag that stops the clock. 1:43 to go.
People may be saying, why are they running a play like that? Well, because of the overtime situation, they have the luxury of being able to run the ball on first down now.
Offsides against
number 20 on the defense.
Big defensive mistake.
Repeat the first down.
Wow.
That was Chris Bain.
You think of the penalties tonight, Todd. That one offsides on offense for 5 yards, and that penalty right there.
This will twist your gut around.
It's twisting mine right now.
Mine left. So it's 1st and 5 for Oregon. Graz under pressure. Nice job throwing it away. Eric Wynn got dumped. No penalty, I guess. Graziani got hit hard by Scanlon. And he threw it into the ground as Eric Wynn was also knocked to the ground. That's a good decision by Graz, though. Stop the clock. 1:28 remaining. We have a flag down. What's this flag? Oh, this is a horrible call. This is a call made by that. They felt the new rule is, and they were going to call it closer this year, that if you're trying to throw the ball away, which they felt Graziani was doing, as he's hit with a receiver 3 yards away from the ball lands, that this is intentional grounding.
Well, it appears that one of the referees knew it was number 31 out there.
Intentional grounding. Number 10.
This is a judgment call by Western Athletic Conference official. It's a loss of down, and we've seen this happen before when we played these teams on the road. Remember BYU a couple of years ago?
Watch Eric Wynn in the right corner there. He gets dumped.
How can you call it? Almost hit him. It almost hits Wynn. And Wynn goes down. Why isn't that pass interference? Well,
it's just maybe the ball was thrown into the ground, but that's you can't. I don't think you can make that call in a situation like this.
2nd and 20 now, so that changes the complexion entirely. That's a 15-yard penalty. 1:28 to go. Now the field goal does come more into play. Good catch by Griffin again. Diving catch inside the 15 at the 13-yard line. The clock moving. 1:17. It'll be 3rd down and about 9. No timeouts remaining for Oregon. You'd like to give your kicker the best angle as well, but you'd like to get the touchdown or the first if you could. Graz flushed. Here's where he's dangerous. He's got a man. Tony Hartley dropped the ball. The true freshman could have been the hero. Oh my goodness gracious sakes alive. True freshman out of Los Alamitos. His first opportunity. Oh my.
Nice job by Graziani.
Oh my. That's a shame.
That's one of those growing pains that Mike Bellotti talked about. Tremendously talented receiver. Really didn't do anything that no one else has done out there tonight, but it really hurt in that situation.
He got wide open. 31-yard field goal attempt by Joshua Smith. He hit 11 of his last 13 a year ago. Drilled it down the heart. We're tied with 42 seconds to go. Penalty flag on the play.
And if you're
a 5-yard penalty would not give Oregon a first down if it's against Fresno State. But if you'd hit the center, that would be a penalty that could give you a first down. But I think it's a 5-yard penalty, and Oregon wants the points at this point.
No flag on the play. The field goal is good.
No penalty.
Now the situation is the Ducks have been plagued by the short kickoff. They're going to have to get it down there and cover, and Fresno would need about 30 yards from the 40-yard line to get into field goal position themselves.
Well, to kick it off, 42 seconds left. Fresno State has one timeout. That's it. Bidwell getting his best kick of the night there. This is going to be Antonio Pruitt. He's going to try the middle, and he's going to be snowballed under at about the 23. Well, the first overtime game of the college season.
At no extra charge.
You get the rest of this for free.
Free football, folks. This is great. One of their young guys inside to rise up big here. There's Wheaton out on the left side, clapping his hands.
Pittman's been the main man for Fresno State, and they go right back to him, and he gets 5 yards. That's a good start for Fresno State. Again, the key here, the difference between college overtime and the NFL is that in college, both teams get an opportunity on offense. In the NFL, it's the first to score.
Right.
Roberson limps off the field for Fresno State. The ball game, Damon Hicklin will come near side in the slot. Go back to the run with Pittman. This time, Peter Sermon stuffs him after a gain of 1. So they brought the ball at the 19, 3rd down and 4. Of course, there's no time on the clock anymore. And for the first time tonight, Arellanes in the shotgun. They'll fake that under pressure. He's got his man Roberson, and he is short of the first down. Peter Sermon, a great open field tackle. And this is what you want to do. You want to force a field goal attempt, and it's on the right hash mark.
And for a moment there, it looked like Jeremy Asher making his play. You watch this explode. That's a great play.
Good for about 2 yards.
Lamont Woods was over there. Pretty good pursuit by that Oregon defense. Be nothing wrong with making a miss here and maybe blocking it.
Great success blocking kicks last year. Armin Torigian. This will be a 35-yard field goal. It's up, and it is good. Squeezed in the left upright. So the Bulldogs have the advantage momentarily with the field goal. That was close. The Oregon guys didn't think it was good.
27-24.
Let's take a look at this one again. Pretty good pressure.
The action on the ball was not pretty. He did get inside there.
He was squeezing it. He wasn't sure until the last minute. He says, yeah, I got it.
I think he did that when the arms went up.
So now, Oregon with the ball at the 25. They need 3 points to force another overtime. A touchdown would win the ball game.
And the Fresno band is playing.
Which they're not allowed to do when the ball is snapped, but they stop. Comes pressure on Graziani. He throws deep. He's got Wilcox. This baby's in the refrigerator. One play, touchdown. Oregon wins as they come from behind twice in the fourth quarter and in overtime to win it 30-27. Oh man, I hope we don't have 10 more like that.
Well, if they turn out like this, bring them on.
Oh my goodness.
One of the few times Wilcox got open from the second period on, and he was wide open. Graziani just fell over on his back with his hands straight up.
Well, they're shooting the fireworks off. I notice all the colors are green and yellow. Graziani was brilliant in that final drive and then that touchdown pass. A historic night at Bulldog Stadium. And it's the Oregon Ducks with a gutty effort. Outplayed much of the second half, but never gave up. And the seniors, Graziani and Wilcox, leading the way to a victory.
You know, that's a mark of a very good football team when you win a game that perhaps you shouldn't have. In terms of the physical stuff that happened on the line of scrimmage, the Ducks were outplayed, I would say about 85% of the game. But when they had to make a play, you watch this young man, Graziani, zeroes into Mr. Touchdown.
How about going for the touchdown on the first down?
Well, the key thing is you don't want to get a sack, so you get out of field goal position. But really, because you're in a 4-down territory anyway, you have nothing to lose. It's a good idea to go for the end zone. But, you know, you want to make it to, if he's not open, you throw it away.
Well, Wilcox and Graziani, they'll be talking about that one for a long, long time to come. Goodness gracious, what a finish. And you see the players at midfield with their traditional post-game prayer. They got a lot to be thankful for tonight. Well, I don't think there's much doubt, maybe a little doubt, but certainly the final balloting is in this an election year. And Tony Graziani, the senior quarterback from Modesto, not far from Fresno, is our State Farm player of the game. Graziani, 19 of 32, 316 yards and 3 touchdowns to kick off the 1996 season in an electrifying way. What a way to start the season, Ken, with an overtime game on the road. And Oregon, as they've done the last couple of years, you know, you don't win 9 games 2 years in a row by rolling over and die when you're down and seemingly out. This team still has that resiliency and great leadership and courage to battle all the odds, especially on the road.
Last year I was talking to a Pac-10 opposing coach, and I said, the Ducks don't look as good to me as the Rose Bowl year. And he says, I think they're better. And he said, you know why? Because they make plays. Tonight, they were not the better team out here, but they made plays. Their big player, number 10, Graziani, I mean, he did it himself, and he was able, you know, there was some pretty good job. The defense, credit them, was sucking it up the last 8 minutes out here, and they put the offense in a position to win, forcing the punt down here to the 1-yard line. You'd like it in a better place, but you give it to Graziani with any time on the clock, and the Ducks have got a shot.